Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 224. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside Punchy McPuncherton, Mike.
Hey, everybody. Look at that. I'm here for 2 weeks in a row, Chris.
You did it.
I did it. Yep. That's about it, though. I'll see you guys next year. No, I am here for the foreseeable future. And also, who's here today, very, very special guest, Liana Kangas is here. We're here to talk about all the cool stuff she's doing, her fantastic art, and maybe a little glimpse into the Star Wars universe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Pretty cool stuff. So we got that going on. What else do you got going on, Chris? Anything crazy going on?
Been a long fucking week, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris has been house hunting everyone, and I think it's come to an end, right? Hopefully.
Possibly going through all the process of getting accepted into this new place, and then the move process, which has to happen in October, which is just an awesome time to do that.
Yeah, right.
And I've been dealing on and off with back pain all month, so that's been fun too.
Well, I'm here for you, man, and I'm glad to see you're finding a place, and we can still sit down and talk about comics. The good old days.
Always find time for this show.
Yeah, I got to think of next show. I'm gonna have to go back and look at how many years we've been doing this, but it doesn't feel that long, but it has been that long. It's been like 5+ years.
So I had a buddy over. It actually just kind of mixes in with some of the stuff we talked about with Liana, where I lent him a bunch of my manga, and he came over and was like, I brought it all back, like 4 months late.
It's like a pallet of manga.
So he brought it over, and then he just like, oh yeah, and I got you this because I was just thinking of you, and it was the Mech Assault Captain America, or not Mech Assault, Mech Strike.
Oh,
Captain America pop figure.
Oh, they have that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's so nice, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
He just looked at me and goes, you don't have it, right? It's like, no, actually, I don't.
Wow. Yeah, I would have thought you would have had that already. That's so funny. Oh, man. I can't believe they did Mech Assault pop figures. Damn it.
Mech Strike. Mech Assault is a Xbox game.
Yep. Don't get them confused, everybody.
Don't worry. If anybody else gets confused with that like I do, I got confused with that while talking to Jed McKay, so...
Yeah.
Don't feel too bad.
You can't mess it up even more than he already has. I will say I'm excited for Masters Universe Revelations. I have every episode downloaded on my. I have to travel next week for work, so I have every episode downloaded, and I'm like waiting to get on the plane to watch it all. And I'm very excited for it.
I think that's what I'm going to watch because I'm currently rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, so good.
And I'm like at the end. I'm watching season 10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when season 10 came out, I just didn't have HBO or something because I'm like, I've never seen any of this before.
Oh, season 10 with Mocha Joe?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Latte Larry, it's great.
Yeah. Like, who else would stick their nose in a cup of coffee to show you that it's not hot enough?
Exactly.
What the hell?
So I'm almost done with that. I think He-Man's going to be next.
Yeah. I'm excited. I have it all downloaded. I also have to. Liana reminded me of the She-Ra. I have to download that too because that's on Netflix as well.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff happening. Read a lot of comics this week. I started watching Doctor Who. Started it, so it's gonna be a long grind of that.
Did you start at the quote unquote reboot?
Yes. Yeah, that's the season. I don't know what they call it, like part 1. It's not the 60s, it's the early 2000s reboot, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's good, dude. Have you ever watched it?
So I've watched 2 episodes.
Okay.
And it didn't click with me.
Which is weird because I love it. And the reason I love it is because of the campiness. Reminds me of 60s Batman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the campiness, but then it takes itself so seriously. There's some of the characters are like, I should just kill myself. And I'm like, where did that come from? there's like things floating and like weird looking like rubber monsters, and people are like contemplating their life choices and shit. I'm like, what is happening in this show? It's so bizarre, but I love it. And I don't know, something about it just reminds me of 60s Batman, is that campiness that really does it for me. So I'm in it for the long haul here. It's quite a few episodes, but
maybe I should try it again then, because when I did it, it was years ago,
right?
Years
and me
years
too.
ago.
I couldn't get into it, but now I'm like, I see and I've heard that from some friends that were like, they watched the whole series and like season 1 and 2 they didn't care for, but then they went back and rewatched it and they said season 1 was a lot better than they had remembered. They didn't appreciate it for what it was, and some of the things they're doing with like it's kind of ahead of its time, like the stuff like the fall of society and like, you know, how humans would be in thousands of years and stuff. It's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, it's a nice change of pace from like watching Downton Abbey, which is, you know, it's pretty heavy stuff to watch. So, but yeah, what do you think? You want to jump into the news or?
Yeah, there's a whole ton of it this week.
Yeah,
so
there's a ton. I am really excited about this though. Michael B. Jordan is helping develop a limited series for HBO Max about DC Superman from Earth 23, known as President Superman, from the Grant Morrison Action Comics run. I think that's awesome. Give me more of that. I think I like what they're doing with HBO Max now. Of let's take a character and just run with it for a miniseries. Like they had talked about, like, you know, Ben Affleck's Batman, who's not everybody's Batman, but you know, I think people still watch it. That was just a rumor, everybody. That was never announced. And here we are with Michael B. Jordan. Like, you know, President Superman isn't everybody's Superman, but it could still, I think, stand its ground, especially for a miniseries. Why not, right?
Yeah, it's been a popular character, especially for the comics world, and it's something I think me and you talked. I can't remember which ones you were here for or not, but when they announced that Ta-Nehisi Coates and Michael B. Jordan were doing Superman with J.J. Abrams, and it was like, it's not Val-Zod, it's Clark, but he's black. And it's like, that's a different story than doing Val-Zod, President Superman. So it's like, you can take that basic structure and like change the character and do like different stories with it. And I'm down. Let's see what different stories we can get out of this stuff. And
yeah, why not?
And if he teams up with Captain Carrot in it, that's just that much better. So
take my money. If we don't, why has nobody done like a Zoo Crew animated thing for HBO?
Dude, like we're getting Super Pets, so let's all go out and support Legion of Super Pets,
right?
And then when that's successful, and Warner's like, "Oh, this is a good thing. Do we have anything else like this?" That's when we all start screaming, "Zoo Crew!"
Zoo Crew! Come on, like how has Paw Patrol been out there before Zoo Crew? Like, really?
Yeah,
come on. It's
so easy. Paw Patrol.
Anyways, yeah. So I'm excited for that. It made me, you know, pretty happy to purchase HBO for another year. And Suicide Squad comes out soon. So, did you? Well, we'll talk about it after. But
is that next week?
August. It is not next. It's August. Let's see. We're in July. August 5th, the Thursday. 2 weeks.
Oh man.
Yeah.
About to get some good old-fashioned polka dot man action.
Oh yeah. It's just so bizarre. I follow Sylvester Stallone on Instagram now, and like to see him posting like, you know, shit about comic book movies. I mean, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy, but like this dude is just it's crazy to me, like what comics have become. Like you have Rocky as King Shark. It's almost absurd at times to think about that, but it's awesome. Like, this is the dude who, like, you know, is so iconic in Philadelphia.
Yeah, like, there's literally a statue of this man.
There's literally a statue of this character, and now he's King Shark.
Yeah,
what?
That's nuts.
Oh, I could only hope for like a king shark statue in the middle of like, I don't know, DC or something.
Rochester, New York.
Rochester, New York. Why not? Albany, New York, please. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how we got sidetracked there, but Walking Dead season 11 has added some cast members for the final season. Layla Robbins will be playing Governor Pamela Milton of the Commonwealth, and Josh Hamilton will play Lance Hornsby. So they're doing the Commonwealth thing, and I think that's kind of where I stopped reading.
Stopped reading.
Yeah.
So you literally stopped reading right before the end.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
So I literally thought about this the other day. Like, I haven't finished that, like, middle season, the 10.5 season they did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get around to it, but yeah, of course, this is how they're going to finish off finish the Walking Dead TV series. Air quotes everybody on the audio end.
Right. And then we got to get that breaking news noise, the do 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 do, like the whatever that is. I don't know if we don't have a button for that, but I do have the final update on flashbacks for this season. Pat's flashbacks. Although I want to just note he does agree with us that the show did end at the final crisis. This is almost like we should just call this "What if Pat kept watching in Flash?" Okay, that's what we're going to change the name to. All right, so if everybody, I'm sure everybody remembers last week that you went inside the real Godspeed's mind. You find out that Godspeed created artificial Speed Force for himself, but his ultimate goal is to obtain true organic Speed Force for himself and wants Barry to give it to him. So he created artificial Speed Force, wants it to be real Speed Force. Barry's going to give him that. Barry says no, because why would he? The team then fights all the Godspeed clones. The Speed Force also gives the team extra speed to help fight the clones. Sure, why not? This includes giving Iris speed, but it's not enough. I'm out right there. You gave Iris speed. Come on. What are you guys doing? You're falling on your own sword here, Flash. It's the same thing that happened to Arrow. So they decide to give Godspeed what he wants. True organic Speed Force. They give the real August Hart Speed Force, and then he gets all his memories back and turns evil, absorbs all the clones back into him. Barry knows he can't beat the real Godspeed alone, so he asks Reverse Flash for help. Thawne shows up to help Barry. There's a lightsaber battle between Barry, Thawne, and Godspeed. Reminds Patrick of the battle against Maul. So, like, there's some good in this episode. Why do they have lightsabers? Nobody knows. Because running around really fast isn't interesting anymore.
So at what point do we find out that the Godspeed clone is actually the real Barry Allen, and they kill off the clone Barry Allen? Well, except don't make him clone Barry Allen. They make him Scarlet Barry Allen, and then it's a fucking Clone Saga all over again.
Yep. Godspeed kicks Barry's ass, but then Thawne defeats Godspeed. Oh, so we know who the true Flash villain is. Wow. Then Thawne turns to battle Barry, and Barry kicks Thawne's ass. So that doesn't really add up. It opens up for Thawne to be the next season's villain again.
Of course, we need our speedster.
Yep. I think Thawne was probably one of the best villains. Obviously, he's Reverse Flash. Then to wrap it all up, cut to the mushy stuff. Barry's kids are still there. Barry asks Iris to renew their vows. They have the vow renewal ceremony, and the episode ends. Roll credits. I have a feeling we might have some awful reviews of Supergirl coming up when that season starts. Just a little glimpse into the future for everybody. But I'm
he's
glad
still watching that too.
Oh yeah, he's out there on the front lines, doing the fighting the good fight.
Doing the Lord's work.
Doing the Lord's work, and we greatly appreciate it. All I got out of that was there was a lightsaber battle that I could probably watch on YouTube and be satisfied. But
all I got out of it is that you just read me the plot to a Clone Saga.
Yeah,
except they all run really fast.
They all run really fast. The part that gets me is the extra Speed Force on top of the Speed Force. You know what I mean?
Oh, just wait till they get to the Still Force. Just wait.
Oh, God. But anyways, yeah. So if you're watching, if you're still watching Flash, God help you. Movie news. So Marvel Studios Blade now has a director. So I mean, the movie's happening. I'm very excited. Do we know for sure that Wesley Snipes is involved, or no? We have a new Blade actor, right?
No, we have a new Blade actor. Jesus, it's
I
like
can't.
he's fuck. I gotta look him up. Go ahead.
Okay, but at least like maybe have Wesley incorporated as like old man Logan style Blade.
Well, you could bring him in the multiverse. I'm just saying.
He's just saying, everyone, listen to him. Bassam Tariq will be directing the MCU debut of Blade. So pretty exciting stuff. If you look up his movie history, not a whole lot, but the latest movie he did was very well received and, applauded by a lot of people. I have no idea what it's about. I just know that he has made a name for himself, and good for him.
Yeah, I'm just glad to have somebody on board finally because I want to see this Blade movie made.
Yeah, I think like as far as the interesting characters go within, I want to watch. I'm going to rewatch the old Blades just because. I mean, what they're so good.
Yeah. So real quick, it's Mahershala Ali.
Okay. Yep.
He was in the Luke Cage series on Netflix. He's been in a bunch of other shit. And apparently he's a rapper as well.
Cool.
But
I'm excited.
Have you ever heard did you ever watch Blade Trinity?
The third one?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've watched it.
Have you ever heard the original pitch for Blade Trinity?
No.
So the original pitch for that movie is that Wesley Snipes' Blade is in a world in which the vampires win and there's no more humans, just vampires.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Such a better movie than what we got.
Yeah, than what we got. Man, you got David S. Goyer, writer and director of it. But I mean, as much shit we give him for Suicide Squad, those movies are pretty fun to watch. I mean, 1 and 2.
The Blade, yeah, Blade's great.
Yeah.
Even the third one's like fun. It's just kind of not as good as the first two.
Yeah. Nothing.
Did you see his little thing this week about why the Marvel movies are more successful in DC?
Who, David S. Goyer opened his mouth?
Yeah, because he wrote Batman v Superman, so he's the man that gave us Martha. Yeah, it was a basic he's 100% on. It was basic Marvel's had the same guy at the top for how many years, and DC's gone through 5 people since I've been here, so
a lot of
tough to be.
Yeah, and consistent. I get that. Yeah, you can't have a consistent vision when you keep changing people. But also, I just want to give a friendly reminder to everybody out there. I didn't think I could love Guillermo Del Toro more than I do now, but for some reason, I completely forgot he directed Blade 2.
Yeah.
And now, I remember that's the one with the giant, fat, disgusting looking vampire that he keeps shining the light on. And now it makes so much sense because, the horror aspect of it was on point, and that was definitely all Guillermo's work. So, man,
good fucking movies, man.
They're all so good.
This is why I say whenever someone gets into the comic bubble is going to burst.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, you don't understand how long comic movies have been around.
They've been here.
Because nobody knew that Blade was a comic book.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just a 90s example, but they've been around forever and we loved them. So.
Right. Yeah, so DC Films has found its Batgirl. Leslie Grace has signed on to play Barbara Gordon in the live-action movie coming to HBO Max. Another good reason to, have HBO Max. This actress she's starting a lot of stuff. In the Heights is a pretty popular thing. A lot of this other stuff, actually. Oh, are these they're video shorts, and then In the Heights. Okay, so In the Heights is the biggest thing that she's done so far. But yeah, she looks like Batgirl. I don't know. You know?
Yeah, and it makes sense in the world they're creating because Commissioner Gordon and the Batman is going to be a black man as well.
Oh, okay. Yep. That makes sense. Yep.
So of course his daughter would be as well. So
Oh
to
man.
anyone like not understanding that connection, that's where we get that.
Right.
But
I completely forgot about that.
But she has, and this is a weird thing. It's for me to notice, but it does because when I think of Batgirl, I think of a more like upbeat and cheery and like bright person.
Mm-hmm.
She's got like a really great smile for the character.
Yep.
And I just like when I saw pictures of her, I'm like, that's Barbara right there. Just that smile is Barbara to me.
But also, I'm excited. I think the biggest part about this is we're going to get more Jeffrey Wright, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
I want him to be the character that just like pops up in all these movies and series. And I mean, Jeffrey Wright himself is so captivating, and I can't wait to see them interact together. That's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm glad they're going through with this one because although Batgirl is not really a character I look for, it's still just kind of cool that it's going to happen because it's a very popular character.
Yeah, I really loved the Cameron Stewart run of Batgirl back in the day. But all right, everyone, we're going to jump to this really, really great interview we have with Liana Kangas, and we will see everyone on the other side.
All right, we're back.
On the other side. So check her website out. It's very pleasing to look at with all the colors and all the covers. It's a great, very well designed. And Star Wars Adventures, check it out. Local comic shop this week. So
this Wednesday, everybody.
This Wednesday. If you didn't know, comics come out on Wednesday.
Unless they're DC, then they're special and they come on Tuesday.
Come on, DC. What are you doing? Anyways.
That's still one of my favorite things. It came up recently when the whole Marvel switching distributor popped up.
Yeah.
Where when DC made that announcement, Marvel just put out variant covers that say still like comes on a Wednesday or something like that.
Right. Like, what are you doing, DC? Just embrace your fan base. Don't do this. You know,
such a good little like just fuck you jab. I love that shit.
Oh yeah, I love it too. It's so deserving. Because I'm at the point right now where I would rather buy 2 indie books like Aftershock, Vault, Ahoy Comics. Man, I just went on a roll there. Mad Cave, A Bad Idea. Whew, that's 5 awesome indie publishers I just named. I would rather buy like 2 or 3 books of those before I bought like a mainstream DC book or Marvel book right now, just because of the content that I've been getting with all those books, man. All the stuff coming out by these publishers is so good. Not to knock the big 2, but the big 2 have their fan base. They're making the money. The indie publishing is where it's at, and the stories are so great, and the price hasn't changed that much for those guys, and also still comes out on a Wednesday. That's all I'm saying. But with that, let's get into the comic book news. Luke Cage, returning to his own limited series this November. Luke Cage, City of Fire will be written by Hoche Anderson and art by Fareed Karami. Anybody interested in Luke Cage?
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Luke Cage is everybody has their fan base, but Luke Cage is a guy who's like when he pops up in something else as like a side character, I'm like, cool, it's Luke Cage. Luke Cage is awesome.
Yeah.
But like I've never been enthralled with a Luke Cage single series personally, just me.
Okay. Now it's time to talk about the comics we read. I read a lot of comics.
I did not. Okay. So
there's stuff that I've like been meaning to read that I caught up on. I'm caught up on Justice League. This is the Bendis run. They're fighting a monster that wants Superman dead. There's a great scene out of like big, the DC books and stuff. It's all big, fantastical things happening and multiverse stuff, but the best scene of this book, hands down, is when the Wonder Twins turn into water and Gorilla Grodd, and Aquaman, a bucket of water, and Aquaman goes, "Hit me," and they splash the water onto Aquaman, and then he fights like that. That's all he needed to like get up and start fighting, and I was like, Bendis just like throws that in the middle of all these serious moments, and it's amazing. So they're fighting this big bad from another world. Green Arrow and Canary are fighting Deathstroke because he's going after Checkmate. There's a whole side story there. They both end up getting shot. The better story in this book, I think, is the Ram v Justice League Dark story. And the Justice League Dark is about to go toe to toe with Merlin because we know he's back and he's causing all this chaos. The last Knight of the Round Table and Batman are trying to get into the head of someone who's trapped in his own mind, but he's been trapped there by Merlin, and there's a reason for that. Like, he's a really powerful psychic, and we think that he could probably help to stop Merlin. Shazam #1, Tim Sheridan, Clayton Henry. Are you reading Teen Titans Academy?
No.
So this comes from the pages of Teen Titans Academy. I'm actually really interested in reading that series. Maybe when they collect it, I'll get into it. Because Shazam is currently with the Teen Titans Academy. It's basically X-Men. they're at the X-Men school. But
it's always kind of been what the Teen Titans were.
Yeah. And characters have popped in, like Miguel from Dial H.
Okay.
So he's chilling at the school. Just for that alone, I was like, "Oh shit, I want to read that series." Something is wrong with Shazam's powers. He can't turn into Shazam when he wants to. So Dr. Fate shows up at the academy, and Billy Batson kind of snoops in at the meeting. We find out that the Rock of Eternity has been brought to Hell, and that's why Billy Batson's powers are kind of wonky, because the Rock of Eternity is where he gets his powers. It's not in this world anymore. So one of the recruits from the academy tells Billy, "Oh, I have an interest in getting there to Hell. I'll bring you." And he opens a portal to Hell, and that's how the issue ends. Obviously, this guy has another ulterior motive, but if you were going to tell me that we knew from the Future State books that it was involved, but pretty awesome. The reason he's brought to Hell, right? Interesting concept, I think. Jupiter's Legacy Requiem #2. This is the Mark Miller, Tommy Lee Edwards. This is the continuation of the comic series, everybody. Not to be confused with the Netflix show that has been canceled or postponed.
Thanks for reminding me, Mike.
Sorry. Brandon is finally out of jail after killing his father, the original Utopian. And he's hearing voices. So he goes on this quest. He's a monk now. So he's bald, he's got a beard, and he's walking across the Asian continent. He's almost like a monk, a very passive person. He's very powerful still. But by the end of the issue, you find out these voices in his head are a group of supervillains that put these voices in his head to make him think that he was hearing a divine power, and they trap him, and they take his powers away and hang him, and throw him in the water, and it looks like he's dead. So that was a crazy interaction. He shows up in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh no, those voices we put in your head, he thought he was hearing some divine power, and that's why he's a monk now." It was pretty crazy. The group of young heroes that have been talking about China free the Uyghurs from their encampments. The Muslims that are
the Uyghur Muslims.
Yeah, the Uyghur Muslims that are in the encampments. So that's really on the nose from Mark Miller. Classic Mark Miller there.
I still love the balls of that.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Because if people don't know, that's what's happening today. So
yeah, they're in concentration camps, and it's fucked up.
The New Utopian tries to stop them, and then aliens show up, and we see a flashback to millions and millions of years ago on Jupiter. So it is called Jupiter's Legacy, folks. So we see this whole interaction with aliens on Jupiter. We don't know what's going on there yet. Brandon's other son doesn't have powers, and we kind of see a glimpse of him, of how he's struggling with his dead end job and nothing's going well. And then Chloe and Skyfox had a son that built some type of communicator, and he told his sister about it, that he can communicate with God. So I'm guessing it might be something to do with Jupiter or the aliens. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here. It's just a continuation of the series. If you like Jupiter's Legacy, read it. Blue and Gold #1, my pick of the week, folks. Come on. Dan Jurgens, Ryan Sook on the art. And this is a classic Blue and Gold story. Blue and Gold save the Justice League from an alien, and the alien wants to find them now. And everybody thinks they're cool, or they thought they were a joke at first. And the Justice League wants to hire Blue Beetle over Booster Gold, but he won't leave his buddy. So
good for him.
Yep.
I want on record, because I've complained in the past that like there's no fun comics out there. I did buy a copy of this. I have not had a chance to read it yet, though.
Okay, it is a fun
somebody was like up my ass about like, you always complain there's no fun comics. Blue and Gold's coming out. So okay, let's see what they got.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. Snow Angels Part 2, #2. This is Jeff Lemire and Jock. A lot of stuff happens in this issue. The two girls, they find an old robot mech. They get attacked by this tribe of people, and it looks like this tribe takes them in to save them. And this old woman like says that she came from the trench. She knows about all the false gods they talked about in the world beyond, and it's all a bunch of bullshit. And then she says she's going to throw them into the ditch to the Colden ones. So the Colden ones that we talk about, we thought that's the one aspect that's fake. There's this giant trench in the middle of their town, and she throws the girls in.
Oh, Jesus.
So I don't know. Nobody knows what the Colden ones are yet, but like there's something that these people worship as well. And now they're in the cave at the bottom of this trench. But as that happens, the snowman shows up and starts killing this village of people, which is fine because they're evil. So, but she's like, yeah, the snowman isn't real, because the little girl's trying to tell her that the snowman's real. And they're like, no, that's all bullshit. And it's like, well, he shows up and he starts killing everyone.
I want to catch up on that series.
It's really good. And if you got Comixology, it's free.
Yeah. It was just those first, like, I think I got 4 issues in.
Mm-hmm.
It was very slow.
Yeah, it's good now. If you read it all together, I think it'll pay off.
Yeah.
So another Comixology, this trade is free to borrow with Comixology. James Patrick, Rem Brew on Kaiju Score Volume 1. Nothing else to say besides it's a heist book between two kaijus. Stuff goes wrong because you can't trust a kaiju to behave how you want. They have to improvise. Really fun story. Radiant Black #6. Our boy Kyle Higgins. Cherish Chen on the art. Darko Fuente as well. This is a whole nother step into the other Radiant Black character, the red villain that we know. This is the origin of that person. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you haven't read it because we find out it's a woman that her husband has a really bad gambling addiction. She finds the suit and kind of uses it to take care of their debt. Okay, now I'm starting to go to my other books that I had here. I know, people, I had to read so many books this week because Chris didn't read any, so I've just been reading a lot of comics. I just can't stop. Somebody stop me. Wrong Earth, Night and Day. Man, what can I say about this book? There's a third. Did I not take notes on this one? That really sucks if I didn't. Okay, Wrong Earth is really good. This is the Tom Pear, Jamal Eagle, amazing art. We find out that there's a third. We find out that there's a third Earth Zeta, or a third Dragonfly man. And I think it's Man Dragonfly is his name or something like that. But come to find out that I have the latest issue. I haven't read it yet, but this is the second to last issue. The two versions, because there's one from Earth Alpha and one from Earth Omega. They find Earth Zeta where the third one is, but he ends up being evil. So there's a whole plan where he wants to trap both of them there, because he's destroyed the way they travel between dimensions is these mirrors, and he's been destroying all of them. So he's got some ulterior motive there that we don't know. And then I gotta hop over to my other comics here that I have, because I did read quite a bit of stuff, everybody. I know, bear with me. Let's see. I have Birthright, Shazam. Oh, Heroes Return. I caught up on that. Great stuff. I mean, you already talked about that book, but that was a lot of fun.
All that series.
Nottingham #5. David Hazen, our boy David Hazen. Shout out. This wraps up the story of Nottingham. Amazing art, amazing like hallway fight scene with the sheriff of Nottingham, and it's a great end of the story. Really wraps it up. The whole twist on the Robin Hood story. So I know this book is really popular. It's very well deserved. It was a great finale to that. My last book, it's an issue 1 out of 4, Superman and the Authority. I kind of know of the Authority, never really read all of them. I have some of the trades, but I am a great Grant Morrison fan. This is like Grant Morrison's spy espionage book, so I think, Chris, you'd probably like it. Basically, Superman made a promise to JFK that if he was to die, that he would have to take over and bring hope back to the United States. Like he would be in charge. Like he had he didn't ask him to help now, but he is obligated with his powers to make sure that like there's a hope for America and like the world. Like that's I mean, he's got all this power, he better use it. And so like obviously JFK gets assassinated, and then we get like what's happened to Manchester Black. He's been a criminal that's always tried to kill Superman back in the day several times, and basically Superman recruits him and says, "I need your help. A lot of villains, and that's pretty much all that's left is all these supervillains. I don't have any way to communicate with them. Let's use them to try to build hope." And he tries to build like this Justice League with them. We haven't met them yet, but he kind of recruits him and like brings him to the Fortress of Solitude, not the Fortress of Comic News, but and he says a long time ago there are these androids put into the Phantom Zone to construct it, and then they become sentient and pissed off, and now they're figured out a way to open the portal and come back out, and he needed his help to stop them because we find out this guy looks a lot like Kingdom Come Superman. He's got the symbol, he's got the gray hair, but we find out is like Kingdom Come not unlike Kingdom Come Superman, he's been getting weaker, not stronger. So he can't fly. He only has the power to like levitate a few times off the ground each day, but he still talks about this. He made a promise to keep the world hopeful and bring peace and all this stuff. And you don't need to know a lot about the Authority. It's Superman and the Authority, but I think it's a great Superman story and a great conversation that he has with an arch nemesis. So
it's an alt universe Superman.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I bought that one as well because I wanted to check it out because I know it's Grant's last DC work for the near future. Who knows if they'll ever come back, but just being their last work at DC, I was like, I gotta check it out.
Yeah. So that's all I had, folks. If you stuck around for all that, greatly appreciate it. I've been reading comics off the wazoo. Chris, you got anything that you read?
I got Moon Knight #1.
The only book that matters.
Yes, from our boy Jed MacKay, yep. And I really liked it. It was everything he promised me.
Yep.
So Moon Knight does have like a therapist that he goes to discuss some of the issues he's dealing with, things that happened after the Age of Khonshu, and also to be like, I have my multiple personality problem kind of under check, and it's not a big deal anymore. But the main story here is that like he's going back to his mission to be the Fist of Khonshu and to protect the night. And what happens is a bunch of vampires are kind of taking over this part of the city, and he's the protector to protect people from vampires and different and werewolves and all that stuff. So it's going back to kind of the history of Moon Knight, where he started, and bringing that to the present. So I really liked it. And he starts like a cult, essentially, the cult of Khonshu, where he deems himself the high priestess. And somebody else moves into town and is just like, yeah, like you think you're in charge of all this shit, but actually, like, I'm a pretty big deal in all this too. And we end up finding out that he's also a part of this cult, and he's also a Fist of Khonshu as well. He just does it in a different way. So it's an interesting way to kind of bring in a new villain.
Nice.
And like we said in the interview, it's great to not have to dwell too much on the multiple personalities and all that stuff, and kind of just get back to like he's a guy that fights crime, and in this case, fights vampires. Black Hammer Reborn #2. I'm enjoying this series. It's jumping between the past and the present as we reintroduce characters. In this case, we reintroduce Skull Crusher, who got his own miniseries a few years back, and this woman who used to be Black Hammer, who's the daughter of Black Hammer that became Black Hammer, and now she's kind of a middle-aged woman who has a family, and her kids decide to go and sneak into one of these parallel universes that this, I think it was Spiral is the task force in charge of it, is protecting. And they go in there and like take drugs and like they almost die. And then mom has to pick them up. And she kind of realizes like that's her daughter and there's a hole in her as well. And that hole is Black Hammer. So I have a feeling that we're going to get the superhero Black Hammer back really soon. But it's a really good series, and Caitlin Yarsky is drawing it, and she is a Buffalo native.
Cool. Awesome.
Did a really good book called Coyote at Image, if anyone read that. And then it's ironic to me that you stopped reading this book, but Skybound X #3. It's ironic to me because this issue, the 3 short stories in it are Murder Falcon, Science Dog, and Assassination.
Oh man, they had to bring Murder Falcon. I'll read them. I'll get to them.
And it's Daniel Warren Johnson doing everything for it. Like it's the original creative teams for all the short stories. But we get Andrea's come back and she saves Rick and takes him down to this new base they have where they've stolen alien tech and they have a plan. But as they're getting ready to do their thing, out comes Negan. And they have this really goofy moment with Negan where instead of having Lucille, the bat, he has 2 halves of a bat called Lou and Seal.
Oh my god.
And then it's so goofy, but I love it. At the end, he just gets really pissed and he clings them together and says like this thing about like 2 sides of 1 half and they were never meant to be brought back together under one man's power and all this shit. And he creates Lucille, and it's just like it charges up almost like a Super Saiyan.
Oh my god!
And then the barbed wire comes out and wraps.
That's ridiculous.
I fucking love this book.
That's ridiculous.
And then I didn't read Murder Falcon because I still haven't gotten around to that series.
Oh my god! What are you doing?
The Science Dog story was really good, and the Assassination was just kind of a quick little thing that goes into some of the stuff that happened in the series. So that was cool too. I'm excited for next issue because next issue has that new book that they're going to launch, Code.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That's all I had.
Nice.
Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show, Chris?
They can find me at Fortress Chris on the Twitter machine, and they can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find us at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, if you are listening to us, to give us that 5-star review whenever podcatcher you use, iTunes, Google Play, whatever. And if you're watching, to thumb up the video if you're enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. If you want to go the extra mile, patreon.com/fortresscomics. I believe that's everything, Mike. So thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you all here next week.
Goodbye.